father to his son. Cover the city on board one. Same for the big hill to the west. Whether in tourneys or play tag, avenues of approach you must scribe. How else to make the enemy die? Make sure to watch for fire lane and to play the boresight game. Cover the flanks against cavalry and tanks. Cover your front with fields of fire. Remember to pre-reg and deploy. Remember route paths to destroy. Remember always play your best. Remember, I forget the rest. Roll low and rally well.
Well, hello, everybody.
Hello, everybody.
Welcome to another exciting episode of the Two Half Squads.
The Two Half Squads. I'm Dave.
And I'm Jeff, and this is the only podcast on the net that is dedicated 100%. I'm going to go out on a limb, 100% to the greatest game in the world.
Advanced Squad Leader.
This is episode 359.
Yep, being recorded in late February. Sorry, we're late. This is the 5th.
We are sorry.
9 days late, but who knows? And that song from Dennis Donovan,
Fields of Fire, is very good. Very good. Well done.
Our title references both the Best of Friendly Fire Pack 2 that will be reviewed at the end of the show and the opening song, Fields of Fire.
Yeah. Very excellent. The hits just keep on coming.
Somehow they do. Oh, Dennis Donovan's going to be in town, Jeff. Did you see that in the emails?
Oh, actually, I did not see that. When's he going to be in?
I put it on our calendar.
Oh, good.
So without checking my calendar, I don't know.
And it's been, we're having a good day over here. It's been so stinking cold for a while, and now we're getting a little break. Oh, we should be used to it. It's February.
Well, true. And some people think there's climate change. I don't know what you think.
I refuse to think.
I
refuse to think.
It's better not to think. If we
just don't think
and just play squad leader.
Just play squad leader and do what we always do.
It's a great place to be.
Yeah, it really is.
I had a trip to Florida and did a couple.
Yes, you've been Dr. Busy Man.
Yep. And so guess how many rides we got in one day in Florida? Although I think you already know, but I bet you don't remember.
Let me think. I don't remember, but at Disney, how many rides could you do in a day? 12?
More.
15?
More.
You're kidding me. More than what time did you start in the morning?
7:30 at the rope to get into the Animal Kingdom to see the 2 rides that are the Blue People Avatar movies.
Oh, yeah.
And then off to finish the day with 22 rides, including
22?
Including the Rise of the Rebellion, the new Star Wars. Run a few pictures here maybe for you YouTube viewers of the trip. And they have, again, Laura does her phone thing, paid for 1 day instead of paying for 2. She made me stay out there till 10 at night. And I was exhausted at 8 p.m. Exhausted.
And how late were you out?
till 10 p.m. It closed at 11 that night, and Laura had the fast pass kind of thing, the not too
Yeah.
expensive one where you get a certain amount, and then when you use them, you scroll through your phone and pick the next ride. And man, she was great at that, and kept us moving. Some rides 10 minutes to short ones. You fit those in between the longer ones where you have to hit them at a certain amount of time, certain time of day. Yep. Haunted Mansion being still one of my favorites, and the Rise of the Rebellion.
Oh yeah.
And then the Mando spoke to me. Remember? Did you see that clip of him?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
The Mandalorian
Yeah.
stopped you, picked you out of the crowd, and
I was the chosen one.
yeah, yes. Now, were you hoping, like in the back of your head, just thinking, I hope they'll just think this guy is great. We should have him in the next show,
Oh, yeah. Yes. Yeah.
the next movie.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And actually, at first, I said no to him. He asked me if I could repair spaceships or, starships. I said no, because I didn't know what I was going to say and stuff, which is unusual for me, right?
Yeah, yeah, it is actually.
So then he goes again. He says, "Can you repair starships?" And I'm like, "Yes." And then he gets into this, go here to Mos Eisley and give him this code, and and then the crowd's gathering around me, and then he says, like, "Got it." And then I look down at these kids next to me, and I'm like, "You guys, we got it, to include them." And then yeah, he walked away, and I did not go to Mos Eisley. No, I didn't really know.
You did not.
No,
Okay.
he was just saying.
Now, if he had asked you, can you fix this Panzerfaust, which is jammed, or
If if I was in the World War II, Rise of the
yeah,
World War
right.
II,
When will we see that? When will we see Disney
right?
do it?
Yeah,
ASL.
yeah,
They'll buy it from Hasbro.
yeah. It'd be Rise of the Fascists, and then I'll be fighting against Italy
I don't
and
know.
Germany and anywhere else you currently find a fascist.
Yeah.
Um,
But they should, well, no, they shouldn't have it. It's too disrespectful, terrible.
yes,
It'd be
right,
terrible.
right.
But,
You can't make, yeah.
but still, if they did it, it would be packed.
It would be packed. It
Yeah.
would be. And the and then on the Rise of the Resistance, you kind of get, without spoiler alerting everybody, you get captured by the Empire, and they were talking to us on the ship. I think I told you and Mike, and then he's like, "You're part of the rebellion," a real live actor. So they mix them in as different kind of ride than you normally have at Disney. And then I remember I said, like, well, actually, my wife and I, we were supposed to be on a different ship, so we don't even really know these people. And he played along with it pretty good. Remember,
Oh, good.
you got to tone it down. You can't be that guy, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to
Yeah.
be that guy who
Yeah. The guy that gets carried
overplays
away. Yeah.
the interaction.
Yeah.
So it was great. Anyway,
Well, I know we don't talk politics, but I will tell you, I voted for the Empire.
oh, you did.
Yes.
I was
Always
afraid.
have. I've always have, and I always will.
I've kind of suspected that of you, Jeff. You have that warm spot in your heart for.
Thought it was time for a change. I didn't like what the rebellion had to offer, so I voted for the Empire.
And you saw this.
Yes, I was so impressed.
For you listeners at home who aren't watching on YouTube, it's a dice tower I had made. A lot of guys had these at the tourney in Aslock, right? And so I put Hakapale, the listeners know our special relationship with that, and Timonen's counter and Kleinen counter on both sides. So I was gonna told Mario Acito that we would give him a little plug. He didn't give us these for free, and then I made a Frostgrave one. So you send in the artwork you want.
You send in the artwork, and he puts it on the dice tower components. And,
yeah, look at that.
It's amazing. Now we've had some dice towers. We've got our share of dice towers and some nice ASL ones. And they're heavy. Yeah, they're nice wood heavy.
Yeah.
But if you're traveling, if you want to be a little more mobile with your dice towers, these are great and they look fantastic.
And he can make them larger too. I think this was, well, I forget. It might be the medium size, but he's got the dimensions on there. So
and they always roll 3 or under,
They do.
which is fantastic. You have to pay a little extra for that.
Except when you're playing other games where high dice rolling is good.
Right.
Like in Frostgrave.
Yeah, those are very nice. So how would somebody get one of those?
I think I'll Google it, or I'll put what you can Google down here on the screen too. But
okay,
I think they'll come up with it. ASL, Advanced Squad Leader Dice Towers, Italy, Mario. I think you'll find it. It's got a webpage. Yeah, I can link the webpage. Yeah, we'll do that. And I'll put it up.
It's one of Italy's biggest exports now, I think.
It is. Yeah.
But the prices are going up because of the tariffs. We're not getting into politics.
But there are specific tariffs proposed for Squad Leader for any game dice towering. Yes.
Yeah.
Huge thing. Yeah. Anything else new with you, sir?
Kind of been laying low. A lot of stuff going on with work. As I've mentioned many times, I feel like I'm starting to feel a little dull.
Well, but
I know you've been afraid to tell me, Jeff, you're dull.
You've been exceptionally busy, I think, lately.
Yes, I have been. So hopefully it's going to loosen up a little now with one of my big clients. We just switched them over from one ERP, this software that runs their business. We did it. We were running all the servers on premises, and now we've moved it all to the cloud. And it was a very big thing. And today was the rollout. And so it's been a long, busy time. But through that now, I'm going to get a little more time. We've got some play testing that we're going to do coming up for one of our loyal listeners, Alan. Alan Hume. So I'm looking forward to that and getting back into things.
And we are sending me as our envoy to Kansas City March Madness.
That's right.
Yep, in a few weeks, I think. So I'll record.
Yeah. So and you're going with Laura, right? So you guys are gonna.
Yep. Stay with a friend.
Yeah.
Go see the World War I Museum and all that. I'll give a full report when we return, and we'll have hopefully interviews out the wazoo for the rest of the year.
That should be great. I'm really glad you're getting to go to that.
Yeah. How about some letters, sir?
Let's get to letters. Yeah, we got lots of good letters.
Right, everybody, we'd like to thank our sponsors, Bounding Fire Productions, coming out with Mannerheim module, going to be out very, very soon, folks. You're going to want to get that from Bounding Fire Productions. We'll be getting our copy soon and reviewing that on the show. But our show is also brought to you by our Patreon supporters. But we'd like to thank people who subscribe to us on YouTube, Litka149, Cupcakeus, Tony Peleas, Michael Demirlier, and Jednotska for subscribing.
You're making all that up. You're just making up stuff.
Go look it up for yourselves on our. Click down in that subscribe button. Isn't it show everybody in there? I don't know. Maybe it doesn't. And also, I have a letter from, speaking of making it up, Andrissimus Maximus 5803, who says, as a noob ASL player, I love your show.
You'll get over it. No, we're glad to have you, and we'd like to hear from the newbies. So if you're listening, Andrissimus Maximus 5803, check in with us and let us know how it's going.
Yeah.
I've got a letter here from Gordon, who wrote and said, I can recommend buying a small paper punch and punching out the printed white center dots of the rubble counters you printed out. That way you can use the board's center dot for line of sight checks.
That's a great idea. That's those flat printed out on paper that fit under the plexiglass tops on your Stalingrad, et cetera, Hungary games. Yep.
Yes.
That's a great idea. Punch that out and then you line that up right on the dot. You don't have to guess where that is. I have one. Hey guys, hope you had a wonderful Christmas. I just checked in online, saw the new episode was up. So we know this is going to be from Alan. I had a good Christmas, saw my brother in the evening and ordered Chinese. Me, Rod, and Pete Phillips, of View from the Trenches fame. Who needs to be interviewed with us, Pete? Let us know when you're ready. Went up to the Kupar in Fife yesterday to visit Ollie. We interviewed Ollie before. It's the first time I've seen him in ages. It was a good day. We played some ASL, and then I lent Ollie the books he wanted on the Volkstrom, and he asked me for those ages ago. I wonder if he's working on some scenarios from those books. I played Bricks in Flame from the recent Arnhem pack with Rod, and yes, it does seem to favor the British. Dave's son-in-law Scott was there. He's new to ASL, but picking it up fast. Yay, another newbie. And Rod said he would pass on a lot of his ASL kit to him to get him started, as he is mostly playing starter kits. Well, I ordered the new LeFranc Thaler pack from Second Chance Games, and we'll send off for the new journal when they have it up for sale, which is now. In fact, I think Mike Rizzi just ordered his journal and pack. And then we got Mannerheim coming and more stuff. Crazy. I see that Vic Provost from Dispatches from the Bunker just turned 70. Wow, that's a milestone. Hope he had a good day. Anyway, thanks, Alan. Happy birthday, Vic. Happy 70th.
Happy birthday. I'd rather have a milestone than a gravestone. That's just me, though. Stone preference. Very good. I've got one here from Lewis, or is it Louis? Hello, gents. When going through an old favorite Avalon Hill game box, I came across an old price catalog from April 1992. I'm attaching a photo of the cover of said catalog. Looking at the cover, I noticed something I ignored in the past. At the bottom there's a toll-free number to call to place an order by credit card. It's a 24-hour number. So the next question to ask, to my mind at least, is what is the latest time of night that Dave could no longer stand it and had to order an ASL product?
Well, Louis been listening to some of the old podcasts, and I know he wasn't around in those days. It seems to have called the number himself, but yeah, I would call from school like in the morning on my first break of the day with your credit card. Come on, guys, you all remember this, you grog nerds. You had to get your credit card, and you called, and somebody's wife, Blue Ann, would answer.
Oh man,
And then she would take yes, hello. Oh, okay, we'll send you that new game, Paratrooper. She'd write it down, and you'd have it sent to you. Yep. Well, I have a letter from Arthur Golitzer, 364. He says, I listened to the latest podcast. I think a lot of folks play through scenarios solo in addition to face-to-face or on Vassal. In addition to the MMP solitaire module, there are a couple sets of pretty simple rules aimed at introducing some fog of war, such as allowing a solo player to use concealment and HIP. These rules work pretty well. I'd be happy to provide more information. So, Arthur Golitzer, why don't you go ahead and send us a little email that details that out, or if you'd like to chat, maybe an interview, Jeff, would you be willing to have him come on the show?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Let us know, Arthur.
Got one here from Wardrobe, who says 16 years. I guess he's referring to the fact that we were talking about being on for 16 years. 16 years, that's truly amazing. You two are the reason I play the game. Well, that's very good. That's a legacy of some kind. I'll take that.
It is.
Yeah.
Thank you, Wardrobe.
You can put that on my milestone. I mean, my gravestone. And I think we're coming up. I'm going to have to do the math. I got to get out my abacus. I think we're coming up on year 17, Dave.
Oh, yeah. April.
Yeah, in April. And then here's a letter from our pal Grumble Jones, who says, we graybeards continue to roll the dice. Today's young people are not exposed to World War II to the extent that we were as kids when World War II movies were a regular staple, along with the Rat Patrol, Combat, The Gallant Men. Even Saving Private Ryan is 27 years ago, which is hard to believe. We also had the benefit of seeing Avalon Hill games in hobby shops, mall stores, and other retailers. That's much less the case today. Young people aren't going to accidentally discover ASL. But as Carl points out, there are still those younger players making the effort. Our job before we fail our final morale check is to support them the best way we can.
Well, I don't like the sound of the final morale check, but that is a great advice, Grumble Jones.
That's why you need those dice towers that we were just talking about, because you'll never fail a morale check with those. Yeah.
Yep.
It's true. There was so much World War II stuff for us. And it's not that there isn't a lot of World War II stuff out there. It's just that everybody is, stuff is more funneled to what their interests are. And they don't even know they're interested in World War II because they're already into
the algorithms, and there's so much more stuff out there even.
Yeah, so much more content out there.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Well, I have a letter from Carl Nogueira on a hopeful note at the Citadel Game Cellar. There are some young players in their 20s and 30s that are learning there and enjoying the game. So, yep, we are aging, but all is not lost. So, more hopeful notifications there from Carl.
And I think we should start spreading the fact that playing ASL lowers your cholesterol.
And keeps your mind sharp.
That keeps your mind sharp. That and a steady diet of sugar tanks.
Indeed.
I have a letter here from Louis Paddle. Gentleman. I can only assume he's talking to us. Nice of him. Over the years, I have really enjoyed how you have helped capture the history of ASL by interviewing those who were influential in the early days of the game. You then continue that chronicle of ASL history by going forward and talking to creators of today. Lately, I've been reviewing several of your early podcasts, and I came across a bit of a gem. I just finished listening to the latest ASL Roundtable with Kurt Schelling. Neil from ASL Academy live streamed it. Anyway, during the roundtable, there was some talk of the upcoming slaughter at
Poniri.
Thank you. The historical module. Checking the MMP website, it appears that though that historical ASL is soon to hit its pre-order number. It appears as though that, historical ASL is soon to hit its pre-order number. I then turned into the Two Half Squads episode 30 from January 2010. The guest on that episode was the newly hired Chaz Argent. Somewhere right around the 28-minute mark in the show, Chaz began to talk about a product in development called Slaughter at Poniri.
Poniri.
Pony Ride.
It's Russian.
Yeah. Oh. I'm amazed at how much work has gone into producing a good, solid ASL product. Yeah, I would say so. 15 years?
Yeah.
That is quite a bit of dedication.
Yep. And we have it from Pete Schelling that he's willing to come on the air once that product comes out.
That'd be great.
It'll be
that
coming up soon, too.
Yeah.
And I have one from a person named TD. Oh, no, it's from Arthur Golitzer again, Arthur. And he says a person named TD Stew. I'm thinking, is that our Stew? Is running an ASL SK tournament online this winter, and I'm playing in that. It's one game per month. So, Arthur, when you contact us about the Fog of War rules and stuff like that from your other letter, you should also contact us somehow, giving us an update on that ASL SK tournament and who it is that's running that. And we'll like to
this
cover
winter,
that.
does he mean winter in the Northern Hemisphere?
Now.
Oh, now. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah, we need to know.
All right. Well, that wraps up letters.
Thanks, everybody, for writing, and we love to hear from you, and send us more.
Sure do. And then we'll end the show with this look at Best of Friends 2 pack from MMP. Came out quite a while ago, but here's a good look at the scenarios. And there are some fascinating ones in here. Let's take a look. Hello, friends. And we got to look at Best of Friends 2. Best of Friends 2. This little scenario packet is not that little. It is designed by Chris Meze and Peter Sturlush, Matthias Ronblum, Pete Schelling, Martin Svard. Cover art, Nicholas Scooby, Charles Kibler did the maps and layout, and a ton of play testers. And special thanks to Matthias for coordinating our release of these scenarios from the Friends packs that came out originally. So what do you get here? You get 12 scenarios and a map board. They were in Friendly Fire Pack 6, so that's the map board was. So taking a look at the map board, it's 85. If you're wondering where 85 went and why you don't have it in your collection, 85 is got some scattered woods on half the board, and the other half has a wooden village with roads going around. So it's got some open terrain, but no, not really. It's just got open spaces between the clumps of things. BOF 13, Toten Santag, which is in Poland, September 10, 1939. It's a nice infantry-only battle well. There's some mortars. I've been looking for a lot of these lately, trying to get a couple players back into the game. Mike and Doug are ready to get back into it. So we're looking for some of these. So this looks good. 6.5 turns. It's on board 85. Victory conditions are that the Poles need to win at the end of the at game end if greater than or equal to 6 German squad equivalents are eliminated or captured. And each wooden building here on board 85 in which they have greater than or equal to 1 good order Polish squads equivalents counts as a German squad eliminated. So they want to kill the Germans and hold the wooden village. Nice, simple scenario. 6.5 turns. Toten Santag, densities, 11 squads for the Poles, 7 for the victories. German 22, Polish 31. So pretty balanced, I'd say. EOF 14, Cocktails for Molotov. Excellent looking one in Poland, September 20, 1939. Russians win at the end of any game turn if City Hall and or the military headquarters each contain 2 good order Russian squad equivalents in general. Buildings on 51, 2 buildings are designated as the City Hall and the military headquarters. It's board 51 and 23, a large space. It's only 5 turns. The Polish set up first, the Russian move first. The interesting thing here, the Polish set up in concealment terrain, hexes greater than or equal to 8. They have 3 roadblocks. They have 2 DCs, dozen squads. And then they get these reinforcement groups, which is they roll in the rally phase. It turns 1, 3, and 4 to see if they get who they get. And they can get any one of these collections of squads coming in. Well, you can get a patriotic volunteer in a manhole sewer location, hero with a DC. Cool. You can get a KOP Brigade Grogno. It's a half squad entering on the north edge, or roll for another half squad coming on the east edge, or they roll a 9 or 10. They roll on a 10-sided dice here. The 101st Reserve Cav Regiment, 1 squad on horses enter on the west edge. And the Russians enter turn 1 on the south edge with everyone on trucks. And the trucks can't move if there's no passengers on them, so you're not going to zip them around doing fun, crazy things, non-historical things in most cases. And the vehicles are the early BT-7As, BT-Z5, M34s, and BT or BA-6s, armored cars also. So I haven't used those a lot. You're going to break those tanks out. And the Russian can place 2 burning wrecks after the Polish setup on the roads. No one starts concealed, and only the heroes can use those sewers. 5 turns. Looks good. The record for that one is 3 Russian and 7 Polish. So small sample size, but there you go. EOF 15, Forsthaus Clash. This is in Sevastopol, Crimea, June 1942. Russian, German for U, half of U and half of 85, the one that came with this pack. Looks like the side with the woods and the one stone building in there. That's Hexite 5, which comes into play because the Germans, no, never mind. It's the Germans will get hip for a squad within 4 hexes of 85 H6. Yeah, it's somewhere near here, near that stone building. So they get 1 hip guy around in that area. And the Germans set up first, Russian then move, and the Russians come on west of Hex Row V. Oh no, they set up in concealment terrain on or west of Hex Row V with 16 squads, some support weapons, a couple of DCs. The Germans are setting up between X and BB and concealed also 3 squads. And then they get these 3 squads within 4 hexes of 85H6 again, concealed in the concealment terrain, a mortar with a small group of squads, 3.5. And then on turn 3, east edge comes a stug. And then on turn 4, enter 4 squads with a light machine gun and leader on or east of H. And then this, again, large group of Russians in there coming to then move from their setup area to have more than 4 armed, unbroken Russian squad equivalents on or east of Hex Row I. Record on that is Russian 10, German 12. That's pretty balanced then. All right, BOF 16, saluting a general. This is in September 4, 1942, Russia. Russian set up first, and the Germans need to win by controlling some woods hexes. This is 6.5 turns, 3 boards, so this is a very large board. Let's take a look at the setup on the ASL Scenario Archive. For those of you at home listening, you won't be able quite to see what's going on here, but the 3 boards you can see is a large area, and this is board 85. The Germans need to get, from starting along, the Russians need to set up, need to keep this woods area, because the Germans need to control all of it by this path going through here on board 85, our new board. And the Germans set up west of R, greater than or equal to 7 hexes from all Russians, with 11 squads, the usual stuff. And then also Panzer Division 2 entering on turn 2 along the west edge here with 8 vehicles. Okay, Russian AFV have no special ammo, and there's 6 of them. They are going to enter along the east edge, okay, turn 1, having already expended 5 movement points, so they'll have a short move up to join the battle. Yeah, looks good, interesting. Got a lot of territory here to move around and flank if you want and stuff, perhaps. 6.5 turns. And the win-loss record sits at, saluting a general, Russians 20, Germans only 12. So it looks like it's a challenge to get that done. EOF 17, no time to bleed. Pete Schelling, no number here. First of all, the 10 Russian squads setting up concealed, and then 2 an AA gun and ART gun, 4 tanks entering on the north edge, and then 4 more tanks, T-34 and 41s, coming from east or west, keep them guessing, north of Hex Row Q. And then the Germans set up on or south of Hex Row, BB or FF, depending on the board, down here south. And the SS Panzer Regiment 1 comes on with 5 tanks from the south. Yeah, on turn 1 to help get the battle started. So if we take a look at the setup again,
from ASL Archive, we can see that there's a hill overlay up here, which is not too consequential to the battle because the Germans are going to win upon exiting 12 exit VP, including 5 greater than or equal to 5 exit VP of non-crew personnel off the north edge at the game end by having more manned non-shocked or okay, so they're trying to exit up here at the north edge, or at game end they win by having more manned non-shocked AFV with functioning main armament on board than the Russians. So they could try to take it to the Russian tanks. There's 8 of those against 5 German tanks, and they would want to have more or go for the exit, go for both while trying to go for both at the same time. The Russian AFVs may retain concealment as if they're in place guns. That's kind of cool. Yep, that's kind of cool. They're not subject to bog and woods road hexes and cannot create trail breaks because the weather is wet. So record on Roar, no time to bleed, BOF 17, Russian 12, German 6. BOF 18, Biderman's escape happening in Belarus in July of 44. Germans win immediately on exiting greater than or equal to 3 squads off the north edge. The Sudakafez, that's how I say it, 10/5 exited counts as a squad. So they have 2 of those, and each one can be a squad. 9 first line squads coming on. Turn 1 on the south edge of the board. It's a half board 22. And the Russians setting up north of Hex Row DD enter, and then they get 2 tanks entering on the north edge on turn 1. So the Germans come on from the south. There's 6 Russian squads. This could be a good intro for some vehicle, perhaps, intro kind of game with limited vehicles and a 5.5 turn thing. And the Germans win immediately upon exiting those squads. And again, those certificates count as 1 each. And the buildings are all wooden and ground level only. No kindling, no bore siding. Each German squad smoke explosive components increased by 1, even if it's a 0. And the Germans have no Panzerfausts in this little adventure. Biedermann's escape, rating as on Roar, German 8, Russian 16. All right, Best of Friends 2 pack, BOF 19, Bite of the Basoto, which is on board 85 here in the lower half of the board, which is the wooden little village section of the board. And this is in Italy around Cassino, 1944. And the New Zealanders win by controlling 8 or more buildings in that village. And then the environmental conditions were mild. Buildings are ground level only. And rubble hexes that contain original building artwork are still considered building hexes for the victory conditions. And then the Germans can freely deploy. So it'd be could be a lot of little half squads. They have 8 squads, a Shrek, 6 minefield factors, a Stug, 1 foxhole, and then entering on turn 3 along the north and west edges between Q1 and YO is another Stug or Stug. The first one's a 105 millimeter gun on it. And 3 squad reinforcements come in with a DC in the other vehicle. And then the New Zealanders here have Staghounds, 3 of them, and 2 Piets, and 8 squads. And they are entering along the east and south edges to make their advance onto the village. Scenario runs 5 turns, and it is on Roar, German 23, New Zealand 15. Looks like a slightly hard one for the New Zealanders. BOF 20, Between the Devil and the Deep Blue Sea. 2 boards, winter boards, 64 and 65, ground snow, falling snow in effect. Celebrate your little winter season for those of you in the northern part of the United States. Controlling of hex. Let's take a look at the board. We have the Germans and Russians, and the Germans have 12 squads and 2 Yagdpanzer 5s. They are going to set up honor east of Hex Row FF and enter turn 1 on the south edge. Here, to win, the Germans need to control Hex 64T8 and the surrounding hexes. So here it is laid out on the games, or on the archive, with the victory hexes labeled on this hill, and then or this building. Control the building or the center of the hill against the Russians concealed honor west of DD, and they have an AT gun, 8 squads, and then entering turn 1 on the west edge, north, south, east, west, is 3 Su-85s. Those are nice, and a squad. And then on turn 2 on the west edge, also 2 trucks with 3 squads coming on. And then when they unload, the trucks have to be recalled. That always like that rule. And looks like a nice one. 6 turns, a lot of space. The record for that between the Devil and the Deep Blue Sea is German 6, Russian 13. All right, BOF 21, Dying for Danzig, board 21. And the 1945 late war, lots of big toys here. The Germans, about a dozen squads, 2 Shreks, an 8 T-gun 88L, in the strong point road hex, which we'll look at in a minute. Some stragglers set up west of Hex Row O, and an SPW comes on with a 75L on it later. The Germans, maybe we should pull up the board. The strong point is this area in this central block here, good old board 21. Looks like this, I think this was the one where the Finns are falling back in the first game set there. And the Russians set up within 2 hexes of R1 or R8 with a group, dozen squads, 10 squads, 2 huge tanks. Well, one is a ISU 122. Other's got a flamethrower. And then entering Y10 or DD10 come 7 squads, DC flamethrower, another 122L tank, and another flamethrowing tank. Nice. The Russians are elite. Russian squad smoke exponent is 2 for the S28s and 1 for the 527 squads. And all the squads are either of those types. No quarter is in effect, of course, and to win, the Russians have to make sure there's not more than 1 defending German, good order, non-encircled, non-crew, armed German squad equivalent in the strong point. So pretty well wipe out just about everybody in 4.5 turns. Sounds challenging. Let's check the roar on that one. Dying from Danzig. Russians 12, Germans 17. Capital Punishment, BOF 22, board 3A, 7 turns. There's a German 4 set up concealed west of the river. Board 3A has this big river in it. Take a look here. And they set up west of the river, out in here to the left. And then the that 7 squads, an AA gun, 4 trenches. Then you have this entering turn 3 along the north or west edges, 5 more squads, and the Jagdpanzer 4. And then here comes the fun part now. Okay, the Germans win at the end of any Russian player turn. Oh, at the end of Russian player turn 3, if the Russians control less than 5 buildings west of the river, or at game end, if there are less than 3 armed, unbroken Russian squad equivalents west of the river. So the Germans want to prevent the river crossing, except for 3 Russian squads, and prevent them from getting 5 buildings. So then the Russians are coming out here with a bridgehead, which they're going to establish. This river's flooded, slow current flowing to the north. Trenches cannot use hip. And the Russian player designates 5 hexes, each adjacent to a river hex, and west of the river as a bridgehead. And then German guns, units, trenches in there are eliminated in the bridgehead automatically. And then each one eliminated, you take a Russian squad out to, I guess, balance that. So the Russians are setting up over here an Eastern Shore river hexes, and they got 2 small rafts for 7 squads, a commissar, set up east of the river with small rafts and passengers, if any, beached in the Eastern Shore hexes. But Special Rule 5, the Russian personnel can use swimming, including rafting, and the Russians can use Panzerfausts as if they were June 1944 Germans. I guess they captured a bunch of those somewhere, huh? So I guess they're swimming across the river. That'd be fun to try this thing, huh? But they do have a force across the river already, so maybe it's just a question of using those 2 little rafts to join the rest of the squads. 11 Russians set up in the bridgehead when you establish that. So that's really unique. Matthias Ronblum made that one. Fantastic. The record for capital punishment is, yeah, Germans 2, Russians 6. So people are not that into using the water stuff, the rules for that. But I think you should. Don't be afraid of swimming. Don't be afraid of rafting. I remember my first rafting game. I loved it. Anhalt Pandemonium, BOF 23, 4.5 turns, boards 23 and 21. Getting us back into our cities here. We're Reichstag, it's Berlin, Germany. Oh, I was at the Reichstag last year. 1945, April, of course. There's 8 SS German squads, 10 Neg 2, a couple Stugs, a little KFZ 1, cheap. I should know the name of that. The Russians need to win at the end by having more victory points of units on or north of Hex Row R than the Germans have anywhere on the board. Exception, all armor fighting vehicles are considered unarmored for victory point value purposes. Prisoners and the KFC-1 do not count. So the units, I guess, want to be scrambling around maybe to stay on this board. The Soviets, 16 squads and 2 of the ISU 2Ms, 122L guns, and 2 T-34 tanks with the 76 gun. Mild breeze, no bridges exist. Place wooden rubble and some ground level, do some falling rubble. Burning wreck, place them on the board in each of these 3 hexes with drifting smoke already in place. So it's quite the wrecked area. The Germans can have HIP for less than 1 squad equivalent, and the no quarter, of course, is in effect again for both sides. Anhalt Pandemonium, Russians need to clear out the Germans all around here. The Reichstag in Berlin. German 18, Russian 20. So looks like that's fairly balanced. BOF 24, last one in the pack, a war of their own. Look at this board setup. Lots of overlays, 3 half boards, 58, 18, and 4. 5.5 turns. It is now Japan and Russia going at it here. And you have it on the Kuril Islands in August of 45. Hill 171. The Russians win at game end if there are greater than or equal to 1 unbroken Russian multi-man counter within 2 hexes of 18DD2 and 18OU1 on the center board in here. So then it looks like the Russians set up on boards 4 and 18. The Russians set up on boards 4 and 18 with a dozen squads, infantry gun, AT gun, foxholes, and enter on the east edge down from here. And that would be board 4. And then the Japanese are having a few guys setting up on board 58 hill hexes up here. The Russians set up first, the Japanese move first. Japanese have 6 squads, a couple of artillery pieces with crews, of course, and then some tanks, 6 vehicles. All woods are brush, which looks like it's changed here on the board. Roads do not exist. Stream is dry. Yep. And place these overlays, all these overlays on here. The Russians can use ATMM as if Germans. HIP is then applicable for both sides. So the Russians want to have a squad here in DD2, well, within 2 hexes of that location. And overlay U1 within 2 of this. So the Japanese need to come all the way off that hill. This seems really difficult for the Japanese, unless I'm reading this wrong. Let's check the roar. I'm going to have to leave it at that. Japanese 6, Russian 6. Yeah. Love to see that one played. That, my friends, concludes all the scenarios in Best of Friends 2 scenario pack. We're going to have that available for you to win. So to win that packet of Best of Friends 2, send us an email with besties in the subject line by March 12th, 2025.
Well, I guess that wraps it up for this one, Dave.
I think so. Next up, we have
we got to get ready for the next episode.
If we want to get back on the 1st and 15th, it better be soon. But probably let's jump back into rules or something like that. Maybe have Mike on and talk about product, whatever. Okay.
Yeah. So thanks everybody for listening, and we hope you'll join us next time. And in the meantime, roll low
and rally well, but not when you're playing us.
For crying out loud, don't do it.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.